Hello and welcome to part 2 of the I'm attempting to make a tank challenge. Right, so part of the reason for doing this, apart from torturing me and attempting to have me understand how model making works and things, is so that other novices can feel less intimidated, because you can't be any worse than me, I promise. Things that you might like to note that are not clear in instructions, for we are on step 1 now, which is the assembling of the flappy bit there and the bit with some holes in. It looks sort of like a latrine in Roman times, I think. Goes on back there. I presume it isn't a Roman latrine. Is that it has little numbers here, and it says N2 and R15. As well as saying lower hull, sand smooth, both side. I don't know. It's these wretched numbers. Anyway, right, you look at this thing, and there are seemingly absolutely no means of identifying any of these things. It is quite like the assembling of a bookcase in lots of ways, where you open the packet, it shows you some drawings of some things that look like torpedoes and things that sort of look like screws, but things that also look like screws, and you spend 20 minutes trying to work out which bits are which. These are actually numbered. Finding the numbers is the fun part. It is on the obverse, I think you say, a little tiny in the top. I don't know how good my camera is, so that's a letter P just there, and just there and even tinier there is a number 1, so that is a P1. If you don't have great eyesight, you may wish to get someone to help you with this, because seriously, these are hard to see. I am not kidding. They are grey on grey, and they're just a kind of faint imprint thing, or embossment, so they're not very clear. So anyway, that is the part we want, N2, and I have been armed with the sprue cutters, and they are almost entirely like jewellery clippers, except they have Italiere on them, so they're macho jewellery clippers. They're not for making necklaces or anything like that. I think I've sort of sussed how this works. This is where people are looking at this and crying. I can't get the knife to work. I tried it upside down first of all, but it didn't work. So I may go and get my dissection kit and see if the knife and that works a bit better. So there we go, we have the parts for step 1. Other thing that I got from Steve in his brief how to assemble things lesson is to do the dry run. So I have to A, make sure I've got the right part and it goes on, and B, see how it goes on, see whether it needs any bits sliding down or anything, and see how it sits. And it sits like that. Before I start doing things. But I do, it seems, even little old me can identify that it's not going quite in, so I'm going to have to find something to sand it with, which I will have to do in a minute. So we will have a look at this part. Does this part essentially need this port to go on? Yes, it does. I need the first one, that one. There. So I have to go and get something to sand. Give me a moment. I'm back. I have sort of discovered a slight disadvantage of being the kind of girl who thinks doing her nails is using clippers instead of biting them off. I don't actually have anything to sand anything down with in my house anywhere. However, I do have a scalpel, which is sharper than Steve's scalpel. So I use that, and I cut little sticky out bits from the sprues off. If you're more sensible and you have such things as nail files and things like that, they'd probably be more efficient. But it's done an okay job there. So then we go on to the gluing. Let's check it still fits and I've not taken off so much that it doesn't fit anymore. And in fact it properly fits now. And there it is, it's going to go like that. This is glue. I have been issued with the instruction of less is more. Yeah. And that I only need to put the lightest little amount on, otherwise I'm going to end up with lots of gunk everywhere, which kind of makes sense. And it does make a kind of clickingness, so clicking. Yes, English really is my first language. Right, so this is the needle point thing, which you really don't have to squeeze or anything, you just kind of have to hold it. It's really weird. The shape of the glue would make you think that you've got to squeeze it as you go along, but honestly it just pours out. It must be very, very thin glue. This kind of glue, apparently, so I have been told, works essentially by slightly disintegrating the plastic or melting it, however you like to think of it. So I have to sit that there, and that's got to dry. No? Yeah, so it slightly melts the plastic and bonds it together, rather than just sticking it together. So we will wait for that to dry, and then we will put on this part. And then part 2 is to place on both sides, very clear about the both side thing, the strange rotating things. I'm not quite sure what they are. I'm assuming they're to put the wheels on, but we will find out, and hopefully we will get the tank and it'll look like that and it will work and it'll be great. Or at least it won't work, it'll just sit there, but it'll look like a tank, which is working enough for me. See you in part 3.